Awesome. Okay. So this is February 1st. This is the first time that we've had a Zoom since being together. For those of you that were at the leadership retreat, so awesome. For those of you that weren't, can't wait to see you at either summit or another live event soon. But I've been thinking about goals a lot, and I think that it's really easy for people to be like, yeah, goals, okay, let me write them down. And a lot of times we write our goals down and we throw them up, and the goals are usually a little bit more task oriented than they are really thought out. And I have really been working super hard on personal development this year. I did personal development last year. I'm doing it this year, but here's the difference. This year, I'm really studying my personal development. So I have a lot of friends who are like, let's read 52 books in 52 weeks. And I'm like, oh, that sounds terrible to me, because I am the type of person, like, if I'm going to listen or read a book, I don't want the information to just be in my head. I want to be able to know how to apply it to what I'm doing if I'm going to take time to read something. So I'm really, really trying to read books over again and take time, listening to a chapter, going back and applying it. And so some of the personal development I'm doing right now is around goals. And I thought that this was a great topic for our team. And you're going to come off this call tonight being like, oh my gosh, like, it's going to give you a lot of information, but it's going to get you thinking in the right direction, because you want your goals to be able to propel action in your business, right? And it sort of connects to a lot of different things. It obviously connects to your why you do this. It connects to what your most important goals are. And then it connects to what the action items are and how to do it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the recognition is pretty short, because I really want to get into this goal stuff and talk about it in detail so that you guys can walk away with some tangible things. So Tracy T's in a very funny mood today. I literally saw this at 7:00 at night. So yes, Juliet and I did start our live insanity, and Tracy highlighted us. Juliet, what do you know? So we did
nice
classes yesterday. We have 2 more classes tomorrow, and we're already getting on the spring schedule to add a 3rd class starting March through May. So super excited. We're super sore. We're super tired. That's for sure. But it was awesome. Such a great way to get out and talk to people in a whole different market. We're really dealing with premenopausal age group, and it's really a cool opportunity to be able to get in front of people who really, really need the help with their fitness. So that's been fun, Juliet. I couldn't ask for a better partner. Pam, are you on where you're able to chat?
Yeah, I'm sitting in the car waiting for Lily's bus.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they went into overtime, so it made it all go later.
Amazing. That's so exciting.
I just wanted to congratulate Jen Condon, who went through the Getting Started Rate training and was like, I think she was Emerald before it was even over. And when we were on the retreat, she had said she was, kind of nervous about jumping in and wanted to, take time. And next thing I know, she's putting up this post about being a coach that is just so when we talk about brave posts, she had before pictures and she was sharing her story. Oh my gosh, putting it all out there. I was so just blown away by the power of her post. And so I just think she's got an incredible personal story, and that's really so much behind her why, and I think it's going to propel her to do awesome things.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations, Jen. I don't think she's on, but if she listens, she deserves those kudos. That's huge. Awesome. Okay, so the January leaderboard is in. Obviously, if you're missing a point, it's because Tuesday hasn't rolled around yet, because if you sold a challenge pack for 3 points, you don't get it till the following Tuesday. So it will retro your points. But definitely wanted to highlight Heidi, Ashley, Kira, Alicia. I'm highlighting everybody. Dina, Pam, Tanya, Amanda, Laura, Brandy, Kara, Juliet, Jennifer Condon, Megan Jones, and Nicole. Amazing. Amazing. That's so fantastic, you guys, to just kick off the new year in that fashion. And Heidi leading the pack. You just always raise the bar, Heidi. You really do. And you can tell that you're training Ashley and she's obviously raising the bar. You're raising the bar for her too, but you always set the tone for our team, and you always figure out a way to make it happen. And that's a trait that I absolutely love about you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then top recruiters. Heidi, do you want to talk at all about Ashley when she's a month into coaching and she is the top recruiter on our team for the month? Do you want to just take a minute to talk about her?
Yes. And my internet connection is awful. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. It just keeps cutting out. No, Ashley, she leads authentically with her heart. I mean, I don't know what else to say. She's not somebody who sits there and says, like, I want to hit this many successful points. She literally focuses on her daily activities of just connecting with people. Like, it's as simple as that. And she follows through. So she puts herself out there. She has no fear. And she is very much, what's the word? She shows her heart in a way that, I mean, when you have 6 children and you're running 2 businesses and, there's no way else to do it, but just be honest about your struggles. And so I think because people see that, and they see how she's so real, you can't help but not want to follow her and not want to know like about her life, because that's a lot to juggle. And she's honest that she's not perfect about it. And I think that's why people just gravitate towards her. So anyway, I'm proud of her because that is definitely, like you said, Tracy, it's not an easy thing to do. And I'm just really excited. So you guys know, I didn't even know Ashley until October. Like, I physically didn't know her. We weren't friends on Facebook at all. So I am so incredibly grateful that just as a friend, we have connected. So very proud of her.
I can't remember the last time I had 6 coaches signed up in 1 month. That's amazing. That's so great.
Yeah.
Heidi, how did you guys get introduced? How did you find her, Heidi?
So I actually, ironically, Tracy, talking about goals, I set a goal in the end of September, beginning of October, to get out of my house and do more things in person in my community. And so I used to drop off my daughter Run Club and not actually go with her and talk to the parents. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to stop being a hermit. And I started actually walking with the parents and getting to know the parents out there. And she was the first person that I saw, and we started talking, and literally the rest is history. That was it.
It was love at first sight.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thanks so much. Awesome job, Heidi. All right. Team Cup, I'm going to blow through. I think everyone on this call is probably on a Team Cup. I'm hearing a lot of rally from Dina's team. I'm just going to throw it out there. Some sort of fun book club they got going on. Dina's setting the bar all kinds of high, making it fun. And I haven't even set up the box chain for my Team Cup. So I'm totally feeling like a loser compared to some of you guys that have good things going on. So excited about that and to see what comes out of it. So awesome job there. Okay, so goals. Before I get into like the nitty gritty, I feel like I have to share probably for 5 minutes with you because that's something that doesn't really have much to do with the content. But we're going to be talking about vital functions and vital priorities and how to marry those to your goals. And so I'm going to show you some of my goals in order for you to see an example, because I know a lot of you learn through that way. But I thought to myself as I'm like pulling goals to show you, like if I'm going to show you guys some of my goals, I feel like I have to give a little context behind my goals. And a lot of times I don't sit up here and talk about what my goals are. And I think it's just important that you understand where I'm coming from before like I throw up what my goals are. So I'm really praying that this comes off the way that I'm intending it and that you guys receive it this way, because I have to share something with you that might seem like it's bragging, but it's not. It's really because I have to spotlight a part of me that I learned about myself when I became a Beachbody coach, that really an ugly thing about me that I had to change. So I worked for the same company for 12 years. So right out of college in 1996, I was hired as a recruiter. I stayed with this company. It was called Aerotech. It's also called Allegis Group. It's also called Tech Systems. There's a bazillion names that I won't get into, but I was there for 12 years and it was an incredible career. I made amazing friendships. I got in 1996. I was 21 years old. I recruited for 6 months. I was promoted to an outside sales job in Fort Lauderdale. I did the outside sales job for 2 years, and I was promoted at the age of 24 to go run and market in Austin, Texas. I ran a market in Austin, Texas. I basically fired the whole office and started over, rehired everybody. Heidi was one of the people that I hired. It was a great run. And then they asked me to move to New York City. So then I moved to New York City and I ran the market in New York City for almost 5 years. That was an amazing opportunity. Lots of setbacks, lots of failing forward, but that was really when I did most of my growth. And the way that the company worked was that every single time I would hit goals, I would get stock. And every time I would hit P&L goals or financial goals for the office or hiring goals, I would get stock. So by the time that I had my first baby and I had to make this decision, like, am I going to keep working these 60 hours? My husband's traveling all the time. Am I going to do this? And I'm also looking at my stock payout. I'm like, there is just no way I can't take this stock payout. If I leave now, in 20 months, I'm going to get paid this, and I'll be able to put it in 529s for the future of our family. And at this time, we only had 1 kid, but I knew if we were to have 4, I would have enough to stick into a 529 for those 4. And really, that would have been like in my mind, that was like my contribution to the family, right? My husband wouldn't have to worry about it. The money would be there. And that would sort of be like my nest egg, my retirement is what I used to call it. So we decided that I was going to step back and leave. And 20 months later, I got the payout. I got 9% interest on it. And we took this huge chunk and we stuck it into a 529. And so that's uncomfortable for me to say. Like, my parents don't even know that story because I'm very private about finances. And I never want people to think I'm being braggadocious. But I had to tell you that because when I was a stay-at-home mom, I'm not kidding, guys. I had the attitude like I freaking just worked for 12 years. Like, look, and I've got this. This is for the kids. It's done. Like, I deserve this ability to be able to stay home. Like, anytime like something would come up, like a job opportunity or consulting gig, my husband and I would talk about it, and I'd be like, you should have got a prenup when you married me. Like, I was like joking, but at the same time, like, I didn't really think I needed to do anymore because I had done my part. And for a long time, for 8 years, well, it's been 8 years since I left the company, 9 years since I left the company, but I would say for like, until I became a Beachbody coach, that's what my attitude was. And so when Kelly and Allison talked to me about coaching, it was never about money, right? It was always like, okay, well, I just need to lose weight. Oh, okay. Well, now, maybe I'll get the Shakeology paid for. And then I started hearing more about the coaching, and I started coaching just to see what it was like. And then I started to see the financial opportunity. And as I started to see that, and as it started to build, I would have these conversations with my husband, and like, I'll never forget the first thing was like, I wanted to do something decorative to the house. And I was like, I'll just take it out of the Beachbody money. And I'll never forget that like, I just saw this like stress come off of him. And it was like an eye opener for me for the first time that I was like, oh, maybe he's feeling a little bit financially stressed out living in the Northeast with the cost of living with 4 children who, in 1 year, $25,000 went to nursery school. Maybe that is stressing him out a little bit. Maybe I've had this attitude of like entitlement as my part of being a partner, and I'm not even noticing it because I've been so entitled about what I did and what I brought in that my husband's like having this silent struggle. And I don't want to make it sound like we're not putting food on the table, but obviously you all are living your own lives, and what expenses can incur. And I think for sometimes men in particular, they're not going to talk that much about some of the stresses that they might feel financially. So we started to talk more about what Beachbody could do. And we started to talk more about the fact that he does want to be home and see soccer games, but he's not. He works until 9 o'clock or he travels. And he loves his job, but he doesn't have an option. If there comes a point where he doesn't love his job, there's no other option for what he does in finance at the investment bank right now. There's no other option for him to be able to have that type of life where he's at a 6:00 soccer game without like checking his phone because Hong Kong's calling at 7 p.m. It's just a very stressful, high demanding thing. And so we started to talk about, all right, well, if I could really make a business of this, and if I could do it without jeopardizing or putting our family in jeopardy based on what our priorities are, could this give us options where maybe if I make as much as you are, then you could stay home for a while. Maybe you want to go start your own hedge fund. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. And we started to have this dialogue that I realized that there was this whole other area that my husband was sort of thinking of in terms of like what he wanted, but we were just sort of disconnecting because I had come into this stay-at-home life with this just ugly entitlement. And so when I show you guys my goals here in a few minutes, and you see that at the end of the year, I have on here that I want to be a 10-star diamond coach, I need you guys to know that it has nothing to do with like walking up on a stage or getting any sort of recognition. It has to do with being able to have options and being able to have freedom for my family. And so that's where it ties into our why. And I didn't know what this why was until I'd been coaching for over a year. And I want to share that with you guys too, because I know many of you are like, I don't really know what my why is. I didn't know what my why was either. Everyone kept talking about it. And I was like, ooh, am I not going to do well in this business? Because I don't really have a why. I just wanted to lose some weight. So it is a process. And the more that you personal development yourself and work on that, you will be able to understand your why. And then when you really get a clear why, whatever that is for you, you got to be able to execute on achieving it. So that's a little bit of context I felt like was important for you guys to know before we get into the grit of what I'm going to talk about in terms of goals. Let's see. Okay. Someone's talking about the book club. Clearly I missed that a little bit ago. Okay, sorry. I can never see the chat when I'm talking. All
No,
right,
Tracy, it's just everything you just said about like how your why changed. That's like literally what our comments for the book club were about today. So it was very cool. Like our
share.
tied into, well, just that, like that you have to find your why and you have to live for your why, but your why on day one is going to be different than your why after year one. And, and it's going to be evolving. And so it was just really cool.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you're talking about it because I wish someone would have told me that your why evolves. For like the whole year into coaching, I was like in a slight panic that I didn't really have a why. So if you don't have a why, guys, it's okay. It will come if you keep working at it. So thanks, Dina. Okay, so specific goal setting so you can achieve your successes. Okay, so first and foremost, everybody's got their goals. Like I've got my goals, you guys have your goals. If you don't have goals, that's cool. Just write out what your goals are, like work-wise, professional-wise, coaching, your fitness goals, parenting goals. What are your faith-based goals? Most people will focus on goals that are tasks. So I was looking at my goals from last year and it was like run 3 challenge groups a month, task, run 2 freemiums a month, task. Not that that's not a bad thing, but that's what my goals were. My goals were really all tasks for the year 2016. So what do good goals need to be? Goals need to focus on your vital factors. And so you're probably like, okay, what's that? Write that down, vital factors, because that's what we're going to be talking about in terms of really figuring out what they are. You don't want to concern yourself with anything other than your vital factors and your vital priorities. So an example of this is like, I think about like, I had this really bad rollerblading accident in college. Like I thought it would be a really good idea without a helmet to throw some rollerblades on, no pads, and like hit this hill that in Tallahassee, Florida, like everyone always talked about like on a bike. It was amazing. I'm like, it would be really awesome to do it on rollerblades. So not only did I like go flailing down this hill, but I had a terrible accident. There was blood everywhere, protruding parts everywhere. And so what happens is like you get an EMT that comes to you, they're not checking out the fact that you've got a bone popping through your arm. No, they're checking what? Your heartbeat, your blood pressure. They're making sure that, your vitals are working okay. So that's the same thing with your business and your goals. What are the vitals within your goals that you need to focus on? And what's the noise? What's the blood? What's the popping elbow coming out? What is the bruise? We don't really want to care about that if your vitals aren't in check. So what are your coaching vitals? These are the few things that matter the most, but are not necessarily the loudest, most urgent, most obvious, but they are the most important. So don't respond to the drama of extremities. So I'll give you guys my 3 vitals, and you're going to see them in a minute. But my vitals for my coaching business this year, and they were different last year, are my challengers, one-on-one time with my coaches, and social media storytelling. Those are the 3 things that I have determined for me are the vitals of my business. If I don't focus on anything else but those 3 things, everything else will fall in place for what I want. Your vitals are going to be different. So I don't want to respond to the extremities, right? I don't want to respond to the maintenance of changing Shakeology flavor bags. I can't deal with that, right? I can't deal with just other stuff that comes that is a distraction, right? Sometimes Boxer can be a distraction for me. Sometimes graphics, you guys know, graphics can be a distraction for me. Those are extremities. Those aren't part of my vitals. Okay, so when we talk about vitals, we're talking about vital functions, right? So you don't want to get everything all done. You only want to get your vital functions done and build a great team that can help you do other things. So Darren Hardy wrote, obviously, The Compound Effect, but he also wrote The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster, and he says the rainmaker has one job: make rain, right? So that's sort of how you want to think about your vitals. You have 3 vitals. That is your job. Do them, right? So take the stopwatch test. So I thought that this was a really great example. And we talked a couple weeks ago about like getting the most out of your power hour. Well, I've tried this. Sit down for my power hour. And for those of you that were on the call or saw the recording, I talked about how I list my priorities for the day. And then I will mark down like from what time to what time I'm doing those priorities. Well, when I read this part of the book, I thought it was so interesting that when you sit down to work, write down your 3 vitals, pick those vitals for your quarter or your half year or your year. And when you sit down, start a stopwatch when you start doing a vital behavior, and stop it when you stop doing a vital behavior. And in the course of a day, or in a course of a 4-hour power hour, or in a course of a 90-minute power hour, how many minutes on your stopwatch do you think you would actually be spending doing your vitals? So he talked about when he was a brand new entrepreneur, he took his stopwatch and he was in real estate, and the only thing he wanted to do was like get out in front of people, talk about houses, and cold call. And he did the stopwatch test, and he had 4 minutes on his stopwatch in an 8-hour day, really doing his vitals. So it took him 4 weeks to work up to 9 minutes on actually doing his vitals. And it really just was a good exercise on like, are you spending time on what's really going to move your business forward? So before you can do that, you have to sort of understand your value a little bit, and this will help put things in perspective. So you think about, what is your income goal for the year, right? So even if your driver, you guys, even if financial reasons is not a driver for you, you still have to make sure. I mean, I think one of the coaches said to me over the weekend, she was talking about her husband, and her husband had said to her, look, until you are out of the red, until we're covering our Shakeology, and we're covering our $15 fee, and we're covering our $100, for the club for the year, until we cover that, and then we cover the babysitting time and whatever else you're doing for Beachbody, it's a hobby. So for her, the income goal is really to just break even, right? To break even and then make a little more on top of that, so that it's not a hobby in her husband's eyes. So maybe for some of you, your goal is 10 grand for the year. Maybe for someone who's trying to do this, like Heidi, who's left her corporate job, maybe her goal is 150 grand. I don't know, right? But you want to know what that income goal is, divide it by 2,000, and that is your hourly rate. And so when you're doing something X, Y, and Z, maybe it was Kira when she was thinking about doing her awesome coaching opportunity call on Monday. She was like, is it worth $50 an hour for me to do a PowerPoint presentation? Probably not. And guess what Kira did? She outsourced it. So you don't want to waste your time doing things that don't move your business forward. Delegate. right? So I'm not going to sit here and plug Tracy T. She put herself in parentheses. This is where Tracy T comes in. So she put herself in parentheses because I don't do PowerPoints, you guys. I literally will outline on an email what I want to talk about for a team call. Boop, I send it to her. She about killed me today. I sent it to her at 5:00 and she had it back to me at 7 in a PowerPoint, because doing PowerPoints isn't my vital. It's not where I need to be spending my time. I love that Allie Upham spoke at the 5-Star Diamonds retreat, and she said that when she was making $50 a week, she was outsourcing 1 hour a week when she was only making $50 a week. And so she has always outsourced and always done things that have outsourced her business, so that if she was going to outsource an hour when she was only making $50 a week, you better believe that that hour that she outsourced, she was taking an hour and doing something that was going to grow her business in order to get a return on her investment. Okay, so we're going to move on to vital priorities, and then I'm going to come back and really talk about the difference between your vital functions and your vital priorities and how you're going to kind of work them into your goals. So vital priorities, I know this is going to hit home with all of us. So the lion syndrome. So when you're at a circus and you've got like the lion tamer up there and he's standing on a perch and the lion is being like nice and tame, the reason the lion is being nice and tame is because the perch that the lion tamer sits on has 4 legs on it. And from a lion's perspective, he sees those 4 legs, and all 4 of those legs are, the lion thinks that they're 4 different people. It's like this weird perception thing with lions. So you've got the lion tamer and 4 different legs on his post. So the lion is totally overwhelmed because he thinks that there's 5 humans that are all moving in different directions, and he becomes totally paralyzed. So this is what happens to all of us too, right? I was talking to someone on a one-on-one the same weekend of the retreat, and she was like, oh my goodness, I sit down for my power hour and all of a sudden my heart starts to beat, and I'm like, okay, I got to get my bat out and I got to start my personal development. Oh, wait, but I also have to figure out what I'm going to do for my post this week. Oh, wait, I forgot to check into my challenge group. And she's like, I'm all over the place. And it made me think about her, because too many priorities overwhelm. So if you find yourself paralyzed in your business, where you're like, I don't even know where to start, you have too many priorities. But if you think you don't have enough time and you're overwhelmed, it means that you don't have priorities that are defined clearly enough, right? So there's a difference between the two things, right? Having too many, feeling overwhelmed and feeling paralyzed, right? And both of those stem from either not having your priorities defined clear enough, or really too many priorities that need to be narrowed down. So the difference between your vital function and your vital priorities. Your vital functions, these are the 3 things that you're going to write down that are going to be the key contributions to the vital success of your goal. And then the vital priorities we are going to attach to your top 3 goals. And that is, what are the day-to-day areas of focus required to accomplish the goal? And I'll give you guys a second if you want to screenshot that or if you want to write it down, because it took me like 3 times of reading through it to sort of apply it. We good to move? Okay. So this is where you guys can take it off mute and we can sort of apply some of this stuff. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull out your own goals and you're going to read through them, and you're going to think about what you want to accomplish this year and write down the 3 vital functions that are crucial to the success of your business. So mine are my calendars, one-on-one time with my coaches, and social media storytelling. What are yours?
I can go first.
Oh, sure.
Or is that what you wanted?
Sure. Well, I was going to ask at the end, but go for it.
Oh, I can wait.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the first thing, there's kind of like 2 folds, and mine is probably a little different than it was before when we first met. I definitely want to help one selling coach be successful. That is a huge goal. I have a lot of non-selling coaches, discount coaches, and I think there's people in there that really actually could share the business. So I want to work on that. I want to figure out a way to do new calendars. So I need to really focus on my like page and advertising on that. And then my third one that is really important to me and could be one of the most is the women that are in our group, to really, really see the transformation in them in the 6 weeks or the 8 weeks that they're doing. So I really want to work with them, not only on just on working out, but like if I see someone needs something, and this is like tricky because I don't want to be like the Beachbody salesy person, like, hey, this will really help you. But if it's going to help someone, you know, it needs to be talked about in a way, and I need to figure out how that can help doing our live groups and help these women really see the transformation and get their energy back and lose the weight and, you know, just feel alive again.
Cool. So what I heard you say was like a successful coach, social media ads, and Insanity Live.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Okay, we're going to come back and hear from some others too, but we'll go through 3 and 4. Thanks for piping in, Juliet. Okay, so you've got your vitals written down, and your vitals might change as you kind of go through this exercise or as you think about it over the course of the next couple of days. Number 3 is going to be, look at your goals now and pick the top 3 that align with your 3 vital functions. So in Juliet's example, Insanity Live is a big is a vital function for her. So maybe one of her goals is to continue with her certification, right? Maybe she wants to get like nationally certified, right? So that she can really enhance that vital function. Maybe that's going to be one of her 3 goals. Maybe if Facebook ads is her vital function, then maybe taking the Jesse Reagan training is a goal that would align with that. Yep. You guys see how it's working? So you're going to choose your 3 goals that align. There might be lots of scribbling, or you might be looking at your goals and you might say, ooh, I don't have any goals that align with my functions. And that's a good thing. That just means you need to come back to the drawing board with some of your goals. Okay, so I'll share with you some of my examples so that you can kind of see how it comes together. So my 3 vitals, again, are my challengers, one-on-one coach development, and social media storytelling. So my first goal is to be a 2-time elite team. Well, why did I pick that goal? Well, in order to be elite, you have to focus on your challengers. You have to. Your challengers have to be successful and have to want to continue with the program in order for you to have an elite team. You have to do like coaching development, and you have to have relationships, because the way to become elite is that coaches want to do this business, that challengers want to stay in your challenge groups, and that people really like connect their why to why they do this, that one-on-one, that face-to-face time that Heidi talked about in the beginning. It's no coincidence that Ashley's doing really well and Heidi actually has like a one-on-one face-to-face relationship with her. There's a lot to be said about that. So I picked the 2-time elite goal because I'm like aiming for goals that are going to help that elite tie into my functions. Miracle Morning, 365 days. This morning, my miracle morning happened at 11 a.m., but it's okay. Usually it happens much earlier. But I now wake up and I do my prayer time or my devotion. I pop into my Bible. I do my PD where I'm truly studying my personal development. I'm not just listening to it like as I brush my teeth and do my workouts. Not that that's not a good time, but I'm literally like stopping it, rewinding it, taking notes. Like I want to apply it. I want to be a student with my PD. And my fitness. So those are what my miracle morning encompasses: prayer, scripture, PD, fitness. And that ties into my function of social media storytelling. Because if I'm not working on me and elevating my game just as a person in society, I'm not going to be able to add value to other people on social media. And that's key. So in order for me to have value to add on social media, I have to constantly be working on myself.
Out of curiosity, Tracy, how much time do you put toward that?
I wake up at 4:08 and I do my devotion time until about 4:45, and then I do PD for another 20 minutes, and then I do my workout so that I'm done by like 5:50.
Okay, so like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And question on number one, the face-to-face interactions, is that challengers and coaches?
Yes. Like it's the Insanity Live stuff. It's the Zoom calls that I'm doing in my challenge groups now. So the Health Bet, I've been offering Zoom calls at the end of each week.
Okay.
Not like a ton of them are doing it, but I've probably had 3 or 4 of them that have been like one-on-one. So just trying to get more one-on-one. I had like, instead of doing a potential phone call with someone who's interested, I asked to Zoom. So I just try to Zoom as much as I can because it makes a difference when we're looking at each other eye to eye.
Okay.
And then,
Tracy, can I ask a question on your Zoom calls? Sorry, just to stop you in the middle of your momentum, but like your Zoom calls that you're doing with challengers, how are those going? Like, do you just do it it's an open forum for them to drop in, or it's like a Q&A?
Yeah,
What's the format?
I'm failing forward on it for sure. So I did set times and I had 2 people join, but one person like couldn't get it to work. So it was like a black screen. So it was like me and 2 black screens. But there was some dialogue that occurred. And then I had a lot of challengers, Kira, that wanted to do it, but like couldn't do that time. So we scheduled Zooms, just the 2 of us. But the idea is to have like a team challenge group Zoom call. It's just, as you know, it's hard enough to get this team together at a certain time that works for everyone. It's the same for challengers. So I might try a Saturday. But I want to be able to just have an open forum where the challengers can push each other and share different ideas that are working for them. I think that would be really motivating to a challenger. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very kindly.
Cool. Okay, and then the last goal is the 10-star diamond, which is pretty lofty, and I sweat when I say it. And that was the main one where I didn't want to just throw that up here on the screen without giving you guys context behind it. I don't do this job for money. It does tie into my why. But what I really realized when I understood what coaching was, I understood that I had gifts and I had traits, just like all of you guys do, that make you a good coach. And I realized like I have God-given gifts that can make me a good coach that I can develop. And so I need to use those and always keep people in the forefront. But I also believe that if I keep my eye focused on the right thing, which is the people, that the financial piece will come. And so the 10-star diamond is there because a 10-star diamond receives a quarterly bonus of a 2-star, a 5-star, and a 10-star. And so you get 4 of those quarterly bonuses right there, and you've already hit 6 figures without any sort of retail or team cycle bonus. So that 10-star is really where if you start 2018 at 10-star, you just set yourself up to build the type of wealth that could provide some options for our family. So that's where that comes from. But that goal is there because in order to be a 10-star diamond coach, you've just got to have the people that want to duplicate the business. And the only way to get that is really from your challengers. Your challengers are your best coaches. Or there has to be some sort of transformation. It doesn't have to be a physical one, but it does have to be people that at least believe that something that they've done that has to do with you helping them as their coach has been a life changer for them. So that's where I feel like those one-on-ones, those Zoom calls, inviting challengers. I forced myself to invite every single person on the Health Bet to the coaching opportunity call on Monday. One person said yes. I pretty much got the silent treatment from everybody. One replied back like 3 days later. She's like, I am so not ready. She's like, I need a coach. You know, the whole, like I have 50 pounds to lose. I can't be a coach until I lose the weight. And a lot of them have to just get there on their own organically. But those are the goals that I picked out of all my goals that I felt like aligned with my vital functions the most clearly. And once you do that, then you're able to sort of look at all the other goals. Like, I'd love to run a Super Saturday in our market. I think that'd be so fun. Yes, that sort of aligns with challengers, but not really. Like if that goal happens, it happens, but that wasn't one of my priority goals, right? Or sell 50 challenge packs for my like page so I get return on investment for all this money I feel like I'm throwing into my Facebook ads. Well, Facebook also doesn't have a great way to track that. So, I've learned just in this insanity class I've done with Juliet, we're having a hard time figuring out like how people found out about our class. Some of them are like, well, I saw that my friend Bob liked this post and Bob's a friend of so-and-so who liked that post. And like, it's very difficult to track where it comes from. So that goal was like, it's a great goal, but it's not related to my functions. 6 rank advancements to Diamond in our team. So six people to move to Diamond somewhere in our team. That's going to happen if I focus on my function. If I focus on coach development and team development, that's automatically going to happen. So that's really where you want to take your vitals, and you want to think long and hard about what your vitals are, and then pick your top 3 goals that align to those vitals and create priorities around them. Is that making sense to you guys?
9:48.
Yes, thank you. That's actually really helpful.
Okay.
I forget, are these, do you post the slides somewhere, or can you go back to some of the, like the first, yeah.
Back.
No, those are good, but I gotta.
This.
That one as well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where the numbered questions started. Yeah.
Your vital functions.
Yeah.
Okay. If it helps, Laura, I'll post this in the file section
Okay.
so that you don't have to go through a recording and like skim through it. You can just see it in the file section, if that will help.
That would be great.
This is like this is like a quarter of 1 chapter out of 11 chapters of a Darren Hardy book. So like this, there's so many good nuggets in this book. I feel like I could study this book all year long, because then he gets into like, once you have your 3 goals that align most with your vital functions, then what are 3 priorities that you're going to do that align to those goals? It gets really, really detailed, and I didn't want to go that deep and overwhelm everybody. I think my main point in having you guys get off the phone was like, 1, do you have good goals, or are you looking at your goals and you're like, oh, those are a little bit tasky. Maybe I need to think longer and harder about my goals. And then when you're looking at your goals, do you know what your functions are? I think the vital functions is so important for us as coaches to know, like, what is our area of focus? Like on Christmas of this year, when you look back on the year, can you, like, what will it be? Like, what will those things be where you can be like, oh my goodness, I had a great year on coaching because I stayed focused on the things that I really wanted to accomplish and that were true to my why. Suzanne, the book is The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster. Darren Hardy. Sorry, should have said that. And
Hey, Tracy.
yeah.
So it's really funny that I just started listening to that same podcast. I'm like barely, I think the first couple chapters, but so funny that you mentioned that you're starting to listen to PD and actually sit and take notes, because that I feel like has been the biggest change for me. I think in the last probably couple months is it's like goes in, I mean, I listen to it, but I don't apply it if I don't actually write down what I learned from that chapter. So I'm starting to go through personal development slower, but I'm enjoying it more because I'm actually doing something with it more so than just filling my head full of positive things. So I can so relate to you in that. I mean, this is a perfect example. Like you would you say it was like 1 chapter or something of the whole book?
Yes,
and like
quarter of chapter 11.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's like a whole Zoom call that's really impactful. So that's just a good thing for us, because we can even take some of these things, and use it on social media. Like, these are the things like through personal development that I feel like I don't use like near enough to make an impact. As they say, like, bring value to social media.
Totally.
People will follow you if you bring value.
Totally.
So like this kind of thing is what nobody ever gets, in their jobs and their days and they don't get personal development. So like we bring that to the table in such a way that no one ever gets value from, except for from what we do.
Yes. And one of the things that you may have gotten to this part of the book, but he talks about like surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you. And when I was going through the pictures, Leo's pictures that got posted on the Poach page, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, first of all, they're breathtaking. Like everyone's pictures are so stunning and beautiful. But as I was going through them, I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this or that about Amy. Oh my gosh, I love that about Dina. Like I'm looking through and I'm like thinking about the things that I love about you guys or that I respect about you guys on top of like how stunningly beautiful you are. And I'm like, I need to like create a collage of some of these pictures and talk about the fact that like all of you guys bring so much life into like what I feel like this team is. And I mean, I know we keep talking about the leadership weekend, but like I walked away being like, oh, like humbled by the fact that I am surrounded by such like superstars. And that's a post right there. And when Darren's like, oh, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. I'm like, oh yeah, I am. Do you see these girls? I am, you know, I mean, that's where I'm like, okay, I got an idea for social media. And so I feel like personal development, when you truly study it and it's not like a check, oh, we did a Beachbody, you know, vital behavior. We listened to our PD for 10 minutes. It really sunk in last year. I'm like, okay, I've read like 6 books, but like, I really, besides the Compound Effect that I read twice last year, I really couldn't tell you like what some of the other books were about, you know, and then it just becomes like a mundane task that really offers no value.
So Tracy, have you found that this has changed your Power Hour at all, or just more your approach to it versus the actual, I guess, structure of it? Does that make sense?
It's changed like what, so listen, when I was like a year or a year and a half into coaching, I did everything, right? I did chats for my customers, just like I'm sure many of you do. Like anything that would come, I would like take it and run with it. And what I feel like my approach has been this year is like, if it doesn't align with these 3 vitals, I'm outsourcing it or I'm just not doing it, right? Like Instagram, I'm just not doing it. I can't. I will post if it's a copy and paste, I'll post, but like not doing Instagram training. I very rarely am on Instagram, like live videos. I know that there's value there, but I'm stretched too thin, right? So I'm saying no to a lot of things, you know, that are Beachbody related.
But you're still doing your BAT every day, and
I still do my BAT every day. And I now like think the night before, like, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like, what are the 3 things I've got to get done tomorrow? And if they don't align with my functions, then Tracy does them or they don't get done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had another question. Sorry, I'm full of questions.
Hi.
In terms of, you know, you have challengers as one of your, I don't know the lingo yet, vital
function.
Functions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, obviously the communication is a part of that, and you're offering these Zoom calls and stuff. So what if your challengers are just not choosing to take part in those things? Do you kind of say that's okay? And even if you feel a little disconnected, or do you have a certain, I guess, a list that you want, like, I want to make sure, okay, if they're not doing this, then I've got to place a phone call to this person and try to catch them just on a one-on-one phone call, or
yeah.
I don't know. Do you have some like
That's a great question.
list?
Yeah. So in the health bet, I've got one girl that like she's been missing for 10 days. Mm-hmm. Right. So she's a sorority sister of mine from college. So I know her pretty well. And I've texted her twice. I've emailed her once and she's not responding. So, and they're like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you just busy? But after 3 attempts and she's not responding, like that's it. Right. Whereas I feel like last year, I probably would have spent a lot more time trying to track her down and make sure everything was okay. Now I'm like, hey, I'm here. Whenever you're ready to jump back on the wagon, I would love to help you. But I'll meet you at your pace. And right now it sounds like you've just gotten a little bit too busy unless something's wrong. So please let me know. And I haven't heard from her. Okay. So, but you know, with the challengers that are coming on, I'm just being really more diligent about understanding why they're in the challenge group, right? And I'm really trying to uncover that. And then I'm trying to keep keep bringing that up and having the one-on-one. And I'm also trying to, like with the whole challenger of the week, and the encouragement piece of it, I'm trying to encourage them and also at the same time talking to them about how I think that they'd be a great coach. Like, hey, these pictures that you're posting in the newsfeed with your Shakeology, I just want you to know that you would make a great coach because of X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, I couldn't coach, but I'm dropping the seed a lot sooner. And I said to one girl, like, okay, you've said twice that you're not ready to coach. So I'm not going to bring it up for a while, but I am going to bring it up again probably in March because I want to keep, and she's like, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Right.
So I'm just having much more like honest dialogue back and forth and just trying to get to know them quicker.
Okay.
The woo-foo has helped. So every challenger has to do a woo-foo.
Okay.
Because that gives me a place where I can like put it into Streak and just
Right.
kind of study my challengers too.
Okay.
I mean, I'll tell you in December if any of them turn into coaches. And it's not even that. It's not even if they turn into coaches, but I want to have amazing transformations. I want them to feel incredible about themselves, whether they stay a challenger forever or not.
Right. Well, and even if they don't turn into coaches, they can be referrals or
just a good testimonial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? No. Okay. All right, guys.
It's good. I could talk for like 2 hours about this stuff. It's so awesome.
I know. I feel like my head is spinning. I don't know if I look placid on screen, but inside it's a disaster right now.
No, your lipstick.
A good disaster. I just need to work through some stuff.
You look like a disaster.
Thank you. Except for her pink lipstick.
Yeah.
That nice.
I don't have lipstick.
You don't?
Baby, those are natural.
Oh my gosh, you have the reddest lips. I really thought you had lipstick on. I was like, wow, maybe put lipstick on.
No, they're just chapped.
But they look fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. So if anything, spend some time this week on your goals and think about getting those into a place where you can put some action items around them. And if you are looking for a book, Entrepreneur Roller Coaster is amazing. I'm starting it over. So I took a full month to read it and I'm starting it over tomorrow. So I'm sure I'll get some more good nuggets out of it, but I can't recommend it enough. But if you haven't read Compound Effect, read that first. That's it. Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah, we gotta get to bed.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. Gotta get to bed.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We'll see. I'll put this PowerPoint and the recording in later, okay?
Great. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.